What's up, everyone? So we got a beautiful windy day. And again, it's in the 90s. It's a new norm for us, I guess. No rain and very hot.
I know this wind though, like it feels like it's just like a nice spring day in comparison to the weather.
Yeah, it feels really nice. But we got a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff has changed because I'm guessing because of all this heat. So let's show you.
So we finally planted this week on our trellises as you're coming in the garden. These arches, we planted a whole panel worth on both sides of that Parisian pickling cucumber that we loved so much last year. And a few of them are starting to come up, but not all of them yet. So I'm really hoping they start coming up within the next couple days. The second trellis, we planted a few other cucumber varieties. I think a Snow Fancy and Cool Customer, and then a few others that I can't recall the names of. So then we attempted to plant some of the Armenian Yardland cucumbers, which will be really interesting if they come up. They're quite large. And then I did plant a couple seeds of the Kukuzi squash because I think that would be really cool if that comes up and it does well. But the Armenian Yardland and the Kukuzi squash, none of the seeds have sprouted. So I don't know, I'm not gonna get too worried yet, but we did notice something popping up right along the cucumber trellises in perfect timing because I didn't plant any yet. Some dill, we've got some dill coming up in our garden, so that's really awesome. I had intended to put it in some pots on the deck and I just haven't gotten to it yet. So I need to get more planted, but it's awesome to see this coming up.
So Sarah planted 3 zucchini. One of them is here, another one over there, and another one over by the strawberries. This one, out of all 3, has popped up. And what I have been doing is every night I come out and I water all the plants that aren't getting the drip lines, and then I water where the zucchini plants are. And I have the drip lines off. Today is an off day, and tomorrow is going to turn it back on. And I'm almost wondering if I shouldn't just leave it on or leave on the onions, because this heat, I think, is just taking a toll on all these plants. And it's like I had it on for the whole weekend, and you can't even tell. Like, nothing's wet in here. It's dry as dry can be. So the strawberries are doing good. I've also been watering these. And the kids got a bunch to eat last night. And now it looks like there's a couple more that are red. If not, will be red more tonight yet. A handful of them. So this is my first one for the year. Even though it's warm, it's still so good.
So almost overnight, some of our garlic is getting some scapes on it. So it's really exciting. This is our first year growing garlic, and we planted both some hardneck variety that are going to have the scapes and some softneck variety, but I couldn't quite remember what I had planted where. So it's really exciting to see this. I'm hoping to use some of these scapes to make some garlic infused vinegar. Otherwise, maybe I'll dehydrate some, but honestly, we'll probably just cook a lot up because we love garlic.
So the onions have been doing really good. Sarah and I actually came out in a couple of mornings, and we're going to start doing it again. Instead of going for our half-hour walks, we've been coming out in the morning in a half hour and just weeding. And you can tell that this whole half has been weeded already. And we have just those 2.5 rows down there to finish. And I think once we're on top of it, we'll just use the hoe and scratch along the top. And there's another reason why I think if we can do a raised bed, if lumber wasn't so high, I'd do it right now, but if we do a raised bed, maybe put it right here and just have that just for onions and, you know, such like that, or carrots, you know, do 2 and 1 for carrots, just so that's all that bed's for, and then make a tarp for it and be done. I think that'd be the easiest and best route for us, because it's open dirt and the rest of it is covered with wood chips.
So our tomatoes are doing really well. We had been taking all the blossoms off to just kind of divert some energy into growing, but we were gone for a couple days and there's blossoms everywhere. So we're letting them go now. So pretty much every variety of tomato has blossoms on it. Not all the plants do, but they're growing really well. They're gonna need some staking up soon, so we gotta take our tomato clips out and get working on that. And then our row of San Marzanos, kind of like the Roma tomatoes, those we got to get some staking up done too, because we don't have anything ready for them yet.
So Evan and I were able to find some straw, and we put down straw. We're hoping that this is going to help the potatoes with the mounding. And then talking to someone else about potatoes, and they had said, and then I saw the video with M.I. Gardner, and he kind of confirmed it for me. But I think next year what we're going to try to do, instead of worrying about mounding, M.I. Gardner and this lady had said they plant them 6 inches deep. And that's it. They don't mound, they don't do nothing, they just let them grow then. 6 inches, and they cover them up and they let them go. So I think I would like to try that next year, because in my eyes I feel like we failed already because we didn't mound these fast enough. But maybe not. Maybe we're just fine and we're over exaggerating. I don't know. But this is 4 bales of straw, so it's on there thick, so it should help, and it'll hold in moisture for them. But I'm just leery because remember how I said I'm never going to put grass in here again? Well, we're still fighting that. And you can see the patches of grass throughout, and we're still fighting and pulling them and pulling weeds. And we never had this before in our garden until I put grass in here. So I'm just worried that I'm going to eat my words by putting that straw in here. But time will tell.
So in the yard, those 2 peach trees we have planted still have some fruit on them. A little bit of the fruit did fall, but some of it looks pretty good, and the trees themselves look alright. But that pear tree we planted over here, it doesn't look like it's doing quite as well. I know someone recommended to us to pull all the peaches off here just to give these trees a good first year. It's just one of those things. I don't know, I guess I'm just not hardcore enough of a gardener to do that. It's kind of like thinning. I just don't like it. That pine tree, on the other hand, that Evan got, that is doing really well. Lots of things are growing right up to it, and it still seems to be doing really well. So this kind of neglected area of our planting, the melons, cantaloupe, watermelons, they seem to be doing pretty well. I don't think they got a ton of water this weekend while we were gone. It hasn't rained, so seem to be doing all right considering. So we asked in our last garden tour about this chamomile, and we got some great tips to just keep picking it so that it keeps flowering and keeps going, that it won't be flowering all summer. So good to know. So I'm picking some of the chamomile flowers so I can dry them. I loved the comment on our last garden tour video that just said, I just leave them in my basket and then they kind of dry on their own. And that sounded so real life to me. Like, oh yeah, I left them in the basket, but they're still good.
So Leroy's little flower basket here is just taking off. He's got all sorts of flowers on here, and it's just cool to see, and he's so proud of it, and it's really cool. I don't think he realizes how much I water it.
Some of those flowers that died on here I was able to collect the seeds from, so that's awesome. It's awesome to just have a quick little source for collecting flower seeds so that we can be growing more next year. These onion flowers are just outrageous how many we have and how well they're doing, but I'm not seeing any seeds on them yet, so I don't think it's time to be collecting them yet, but I've been keeping a good eye on them, hoping I don't miss it. The Norfolk spinach plant we saved for seed isn't quite ready yet, but it's definitely getting closer in here too. The tomatoes are growing. Things that like the heat seem to be doing really well. Our collard greens are doing really well. We might actually try them one of these days. Things like our cooler crops, our lettuce, they're definitely starting to get to that kind of too hot in here stage. So we're finishing them off. We got to pick the rest of this lettuce this week and get this pulled. So I am going to pull our first rutabaga today. We had some potatoes somebody had dropped off in the house, and we had used those up, and the kids loved them, which made me go, oh, maybe we should have some potatoes, but we have rutabaga. So I'm going to pick this rutabaga. I think it'd be really good with these garlic scapes. Oh my goodness.
Thing is huge.
Thing is huge. Now what to do with the leaves, that I don't know. It's fun growing new things we haven't grown before. Or in this case, things we haven't even eaten before.
What's that going to flower?
The purple one?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was trying to figure it out earlier, and I'm like, maybe a radish?
It's the radish. Look at all those radishes.
Yep.
It's the Easter radish.
Yep. That's kind of what I thought.
Sorry, we're kind of geeking out here. So the Easter egg radish, all the radishes, the Easter radishes, we didn't do the cutting because it got too hot. It was 2 days after we decided, let's go get some and put them in our eggs. They already were bolted. Looking at them, and look at these purple flowers. They're all over. That is cool. The other ones were white, so we didn't know what they were. That's kind of cool.
So it's just interesting because Matt and I are just loving seeing everything flower and go to seed when most gardeners are probably like, oh, it's bolting, right? Like it's getting bad, but it's just really exciting seeing this kind of like the life cycle of the seed and being able to save some of these and plant them again. So hopefully we definitely get to eat some things. That's important too, but it is really cool to be able to see it.
So with everything bolting and going to seed, I think our best bets, because we need to start planting and thinking about winter already. Yes, it is 90 in middle of June, but we're thinking about winter. I think what we're gonna do is slowly start taking everything out and get ready, because in August we need to start planting for winter stuff. So I think we can clear these beds out, the stuff that's going to seed, collect the seed, and then pull them out and leave it bare for that little bit and start getting stuff set up and get it ready for winter.
I do have some celery that came up. Our celery we started came up. It's doing really well. So I'm hoping to plant that in here as well.
Yeah.
You look at me like I'm crazy when I shut my feelings out. You look at me like I'm different, still you stay cause you feel something real. Get so lost in my moments, doesn't mean I don't need you. I fell in love with your colors, they kinda tell me what I'm thinking. I fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. There's something different about us, and the reason why we stay. We fly around like paper planes, they never know where we will.